Is it working? Are we online? Are we on Facebook Live? Hello? Hello. There we go. How we doing, kids? Hello, Chef. I like gnomes. Depends what sort of gnomes they are. What sort of gnomes are we talking about, Simon? Is that really the opening question, Simon? Is that the best you can do? Do you like gnomes? Scott. Hi, Rob. Thanks for doing this. Have you killed Tom Chilton yet? I'm thinking about it. I did say at the weekend if I enjoyed myself enough, then I would cut open his wounds from his operation and get back in the car again for brands. But no, Tom is definitely doing brands for everyone's information because, well, because he is. And also I'm not here, so I'm going to be in China. Lynn, I hear Pete is the best dad in the paddock. Huff Daddy is an absolute legend, bless him. He can he adopt me too, please? Lynn, you're gonna have to hunt him down in the paddock and ask him because he's getting a bit old now, bless him, and he's obviously busy running around the world chasing me. But I'm sure you can ask him if he'll adopt you. Michael, you can't be a Jeff if you don't like gnomes. Well, judging by this group, I already am a Jeff because everyone's calling me Jeff, so I'm pretty much sure, Michael, that depending on whether I like gnomes or not, it doesn't mean I'm a Jeff. Adam Carter, hello Jeff. Do you think you're a better WTCC and BTC than Jeff Chilton? Well, he's not won a world championship, has he? Bless him. Although, mosquito flying around. Although we might do this year because obviously we're joint on points, so that's a tough one. I don't know. What do you lot reckon? Do you reckon Jeff Huff is better than Jeff Chilton? Rob Marsh, hello Jeff Huff. Thank you. May I ask, has anyone who doesn't know you ever asked if the Huffy on your hat means you're just a bit stroppy? No, they haven't asked me if I'm stroppy, but a lot of people don't get this one. A lot of people say to me, I've got quite a few of these HUF ones, and a lot of people say, you're missing an F. I'm like, it's not really the point. Graham, evening Huffy, what did Tom think of his overalls getting a better result without him? I'm not sure, Graham. if he's going to fit in them for the last round of the year, because they were quite tight on me, and he's about 4 inches taller than me. So, do you know what? Tom was actually mega at the weekend. He was an absolute star to be around. He was, as always, so excited. Just being there and seeing his car doing well. He was helping out all weekend. He was helping me with, set up on the car, and just giving me his experience of the car. Because although obviously front-wheel drive touring cars are front-wheel drive touring cars, they all have their own little, quirks of how they like to be set up and what they like and what they don't like. But I have to say, Tom was the first one to give me a cuddle after the race. He was running down the pit. I've got photos of him running down the pit lane, bless him. So he was a pleasure to have around. And it must have been hard for him because, it's never easy to be at a racetrack when you're not driving yourself. But also, when ultimately we had the best result the car's ever had. And he takes the positive of that, and that's something that's quite special and unique, because a lot of people would have got upset about it and been, gone a bit negative about it. Where are we at? Right. There's lots of questions coming in. Lynn, I'll get my Pete, your friend, to hunt him. Yeah, hunt him down, Lynn. You'll find him. You'll probably find him in a random Mazda MX-5 race at Knock Hill or something like that as well, even though I'm not going to be there. Will, it was great to see you back in the BTC. Thank you, Will. It was great to be back. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. It was mega. It was good fun. Craig, my commute to work would be much more fun if you were driving. How about it? I'm not sure we can have that much fun on the road, Craig, but I'm open to offers. Hi, Liz. Chris, would you consider competing in the TCR UK next year? Ultimately, if someone pays me, Chris, yeah. I mean, for me, WTCC has been obviously my career for the last 15 years, and I want it to continue. We're still not sure exactly what the regulations are going to be next year. But yeah, having been back at the BTC last weekend, then yeah, it makes me want to get back into the BTC, because mainly just because of the fans. The reception we had, it was amazing. TCR UK, I don't know. I mean, it's a good question, but let's wait and see how it goes. Do I know the Huff? Phil, do you know the Huff when your hat is backwards? Yeah, it is. On this, it's backwards. If you're wearing it, it's the right way. Hi, Will. Alex, how are we doing? Rob Marsh. Hello, Jeff Huff. Geological Jeff here. Use a geological question of great depth in order to improve the knowledge of the Q&A. However, I'm at work at the minute, so I don't have time to think of one. Soz. Oh well, that's a shame, Rob. Liz, I'm in the pub, so can't hear you, but can see you, and that's what matters. Have a drink for me, please, Liz. Thank you. What's a better car to drive? From Paul Newton. What's a better car to drive, WTCC or BTC? I'm afraid it's a WTCC car. The WTCC cars are epic. They are very, very fast cars. They're very good cars to drive. I really enjoyed the BTCC car. But, yeah, no, I'm sorry, guys, but the WTCC car, they're faster, they're quicker in the corners, you can brake later, they've got a lot more aerodynamic, which means the racing's not as close, but as a car to drive, they're pretty epic. Lee, what's your favourite track? Lee, you should know the answer to that question. Macau, Macau, Macau. Are you going to be at Brands Hatch finals to cheer Power Max on? I'd love to be at Brands Hatch, but I'm going to be in China, I'm afraid. So, I'm I can't be there as much as I'd love to be. Rob, oh wait, what's your favourite igneous rock? Yeah, we'll come back to that one. Cheers, Rob. Thanks for that. Okay, how much do you charge, Mr. Huff? What are we talking about, Kay? Sure. You fired me off at maggots, but to be fair, I probably deserved it. Stuart, I never fired you off anywhere. If you went off, my friend, it was because you drove off the track. Michael, I think my son is more excited to see your Litchfield GTR in the car park. Yeah, that was only just had the engine rebuilt a few weeks ago, and that was actually the first time we've been out. I think a lot of people get quite excited about the GTR. Rob, do you fancy getting back in a go-kart at Buckmore? No, definitely not. But thank you very much anyway. Paul, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? Oh, I don't know. It sounds like going out in Newmarket on a night out, to be fair. Hi, Libby. Where are we going now? Paul, good to have you back last weekend, chap. Now to the nitty-gritty. Wine gums or licorice? Or wine gums all day long. I hate licorice. Oh, I'm sorry. Hate licorice, but love Zambuca. That's a bit weird, isn't it? What's the power difference with BTC and WTCC then? Lou, I would say probably around 70 or 80 horsepower, which makes quite a big difference. And also, the WTCC cars are quite a lot lighter. I can't remember the exact weight difference, but I think it's about 200 kilos difference, which makes a big difference on track. Bear in mind that 45 kilos that I started with at the weekend was worth about 3/10 of a lap at Silverstone. So 200 kilos, you can work that out, I'm sure. Other than the current Astra you drove at the weekend, what current 2017 car would you love to drive? Do you know what? I'd actually really like to have a go on one of the rear-wheel drives. Would that be a BMW or a Subaru? I don't really mind, but I've never driven a rear-wheel drive touring car, and I'd love to just have a go, just to have an understanding of what it's like. Stu, Mr. Huff, amazing performance at Silverstone. If Honda got their hands in their pockets and ran a third car, would you consider joining Shedden and McNeil? Of course I would. Two of my very good friends in BTC. I think probably, this will probably raise a few eyebrows, but probably the best team in BTC as well. I think Steve Neal's team is mega, and yeah, I would definitely jump in one of their cars. Hi Rob, catch you at the weekend, mate. Class driver weekend. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you, Rob Cox. Mr. Barnes, how are we? Trevor, loved hearing the great comments about your racing on Sunday. Well proud of you, Rob. Thank you, Trevor. Money No Object from Scott. Money No Object, which car, which team next year would you choose? Oh, there you go. Car-wise, I'd choose whichever one Mr. Gow made the fastest over the year. You know, that's a tough one. That is a tough question. I think, to be fair, any of the front-running teams with a front-running car. Rob, what do you think of Howard Lucas and Stephen Taylor? They're right, aren't they, Rob? Two guys, so for people that don't know, Howard Lucas and Stephen Taylor were two guys I grew up go-karting with. Pro kart, Buckmore, PF International, Le Mans 24-hour. Good guys. Leanne, will you be back next year? Who knows? Never say never. Who's the best ex-BTCC driver you have raced against in WTCC? I think probably Ivan Muller. I hate to say it, but he's a bit tidy, is Ivan. Kieran, have I got any return on Adam Morgan and Big Normski? For those of you who don't know, I helped Adam out, got him into China last year for the Chinese touring cars with Volkswagen, the team that I'm with this year. And we might have had a bit of fun, but I'm pretty sure I can't talk about it on Facebook Live, Kieran, sorry. Stuart, I'm going to ignore that question. Liam, when I move down south, you're more than happy to come and visit. Oh, thanks. You can come and get your cap signed at any point. Anthony, hi buddy, probably been asked, but are you coming back to BTC? I would definitely not say no, especially after last weekend. The problem is if I come back, everyone's going to expect that every weekend. So I think I might have set myself a hard target. Ben, I have what result last weekend? Huge congrats. What's your favourite track on the BTC circuit? Favourite track on the BTC would probably be Alton Park. Secondly, any chance for an autograph for my 4-year-old son? Yeah, of course. Ben, send me a message with your address and I'll get an autograph card out to you. Harry, hi Rob, great work at the weekend. Since you're in a unique position of driving all three, how does WC, BTC and TCR compare for you? And Chinese touring cars? 4, Harry, 4. Keep it short, but WTCC as a car is the best car to drive, just in sheer exhilaration of the car itself. I mean, BTC for the racing, for sure, because it's very, very close. TCR, do you know what? I'm going to be honest, the TCR cars are not fun. They're awful. They're too easy to drive. The driver doesn't have as much influence on the car, and they're numb cars. Because they're a road car that's been turned into a race car, everything flexes, everything moves, and the feeling that the driver gets is it's not that of a race car. Chinese is probably between WTCC and BTC, because underneath on a Chinese touring car is pretty much a British touring car, but again lighter, and the outside aero-wise is a TC1 car. So speed-wise, if you put them all on the same track, it would be WTCC, Chinese, British, then TCR. Oh, good shake, you're looking fresh. Cheers, Dave. What's the WC Mr. Gow like? Is he a fascist dictator as well? Scott, that's brilliant. Love it. No, he's not. Francois runs WTCC, but he's the head of Eurosport that runs WTCC. He's the main man from Eurosport who runs it. But obviously FIA control all of the rules and regulations, and quite simply when they're set at the beginning of the year, unless it's for a safety reason, they don't change. And the way the cars work, we don't change boosts. We're allowed set boost, and then the weight of the car, obviously with the 0 to 80 kilos, is what makes the difference. And it's the one thing you never hear in the WTCC paddock, is that people aren't happy with how close the cars are. Hi Matt, he's near as much of a pain in the arse in the WTCC paddock. What is you? No Matt, he certainly doesn't make me feel old, Matt, like you did. Thanks very much. But no, Neil's a pleasure to be with. You should know that. Scott, best current BTC driver. For me, it's Gordon Shedden. Sorry, it's going to upset people as well, but Sheds is on form at the moment. He might, have occasionally upset people, but then who hasn't? Ultimately, he is absolutely on his A game. At the same time, Ash Sutton, has been hugely impressive this year, but he's not been in it long enough for me to rank him as the best. So on that basis, Shedden. Ham and pineapple pizza, hell yes, Dave, hell yeah. I do hot pineapple on pizza, love it. Liam, get your butt back to BTC. I'd love to. Pulled pineapple is not pudding. It's not. It goes on pizza hot, trust me. If you went a racing driver, what career job would you do? Oh, wow. Not sure. Good question. Um, Definitely something in racing for sure, because I've always loved motorsport, and certainly BTC and WTCC. So I'm not sure I'm clever enough to be an engineer, but something in racing for sure. Are you watching EastEnders? I'm not watching EastEnders. For the first time in probably 2.5 years, EastEnders is on my telly. It's because I stupidly forgot to turn it off before I started this. So although it's on my TV, I'm definitely not watching it. I wouldn't even know who's in it now. There's people crying on it. Oh, Kath's back. When did Kath come back? Oh, well, there you go. All your racing experience of being a world champion, is your opinion Jaffa Cake biscuits in disguise? Jaffa Cakes are one of my favourite cakes. They're cakes, not biscuits. That's why they're called Jaffa Cakes. Another one from Harry. What's your favourite Disney film? What's your favourite Disney film? I don't know, does Finding Nemo count, or Ratatouille? Does that count as a Disney film? I don't know. But Ratatouille is a pretty cool animation film. Love it. How does lard compare with citron? You really want me to answer that? Lard is made in Russia, and the citron's made by people who know exactly what they're doing. That probably answers your question for you. The red larder, believe it or not, as awful as it was, has the outright lap record for a touring car in Macau. Funnily enough, by me. But yeah, it was hard work to drive. The yellow larder, the Vesta, is actually a really good car, but still not quick enough. Matt, I'm not a liar, you know it. Simon, if you partner anyone in a three-legged race, who would you go with? If I could partner anyone in a three-legged race, I was going to say Matt Neal, but I wouldn't be able to keep up, would I? He'd just be able to pick me up and carry me, so it'd probably Matt, actually. Macy keeps waving at me. Hi, Macy. Glad you like your early birthday present. Trevor, if you can pick up coming race driver to be a team member, who would it be? An up-and-comer. Oh, wow. I'll tell you who I'm really impressed with. He's my teammate in TCR International, Jean-Carl Vernet. He's a quick boy. I'm going to try my damnedest to make him, or try my darndest to help him win the TCR International this year. It's tough because we've not got the quickest cars by a long shot. The Honda and the Audi are monstrously quick. To be fair, so is the Alfa and the Opel, and the Golf is lagging a little bit, but we're keeping him up there. We've got 2 more rounds to make sure he wins. Hi, Dave. Thanks for your help earlier, mate. Appreciate it. Nathan, you've driven loads of race cars, but would you be able to handle a Seat Arousa 1-point hero? Pretty sure I've had one of them as a hire car, and yeah, it was okay. I've said it like that just in case you've got one. Would I drive for Powermax again? Of course I would, Tony. Yeah, I loved it. Great team, really welcomed me, and I had a lot of fun with them. Yeah, it was great. Really enjoyed myself. Literally one of the friendliest teams I've ever come across, and professional and totally open to everything. And they were absolutely great. Really enjoyed my weekend with them. I'll let you have Pixar, Disney, Huffy. Cheers. Thanks, Harry. Mel, how are we, my darling? Coffee, please, babe. Coffee, 1 sugar. You make me a latte, that'd be great. Is it true Chilton's overalls were covered in glitter? Are we talking on the inside or the outside, Scott? Would you rather be attacked by 1 horse-sized duck or 10 duck-sized horses? Andy. Good question, mate. I think I'd go for the horse-sized duck. Have I ever seen your gnome, Paul? No. Send me a picture. Have you ever tried doing rallycross? Yes, Chris, definitely. My boss in WTCC, Renner Munich, as you probably know, does quite a lot of rallycross, and he's been asking me for a long time to have a test in his rally car. But yeah, I'd love to do World Rallycross. Love, love, love it. It's brilliant, great sport, and a lot of fun. Dave, my pleasure, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, what car do you drive at home? Hi, Kay. I've got a stupidly fast Nissan GTR, which was built by Litchfields, which has had literally everything done to it. But I also have an X5, which is my daily. I used to have a very nice Camaro until a pisshead decided he wanted to have a head-on on the road in Newmarket with me. He lost, but also it destroyed my Camaro. So yeah, X5 is the winner. Eric, come back to PMR. Thanks, Eric. I hope you're well. Thank you. Graham, how do you think the BTC grid would get on if they had a one-off race in Macau, and who would win? Graham, I think, if I'm honest with you, half of them, maybe more, would crash on their own, would just hit the barriers. Track limits, everyone hates them here, obviously. And if you go beyond the track limits in Macau, you're in a concrete wall or an Armco, and if you saw how many people went wide at Cops, or how wide some people went at Cops, you'd know that they'd all crash. Who would win? Me, because I'd be doing a one-off BTC in Macau, I can assure you. Eric, come back to PMR. I'd love to, Eric. See what we can do. Lynn, can I have a sit in your awesome GTR? Of course you can, Lynn. No problem at all. Nathan, I do. I can't say that. You don't have to be polite. Gotta love a Seat Arosa, or Rouser, as I call it. Definitely not remotely arousing, but got to start somewhere, Nathan. I'm in the same pub and quite glad I can only see you. Hi, Jackie. Carl Walker, who's winning the championship? I knew that one was going to come up. Who's going to win it? Oh, God. I'm going to say Sutton. He's been driving so well this year. He really has. And that car, don't be wrong, it is quick, and it is the quickest car, and it has been the quickest car all year. And people will want to argue with me all day on that, I'm sure, but it has been the fastest car. But you've still got to drive it, and that's one thing that Ash has managed to do where Plato hasn't. And I think Ash will win it. How did it feel to be racing real drivers again and a full grid? Chris, that could take a long while to answer that one, mate. One thing a lot of people said to me before the weekend is, how close BTCC is, and, it's been a long while since you raced that closely. I'm sorry, but WTCC is close. If you look at some of the races we've had this year, it's a tough place to be. And just because we haven't got 35 cars, you only need 3 cars to be on the pace, to have a real race, and for it to be close. But it felt great to be on the grid, and it felt even better to come from 28th to finish second in the last race. Lynn, King of Macau, thank you very much. Seems to be a name I've acquired over the years. Dave, I'm voting you back. Thanks, Dave. Mel, of course you would say Sutton, wouldn't you? You're slightly biased on that front. I think I'm going to the bar. Do you want anything? Yeah, can I have a JD and Coke, please, Liz? You poorly, Mr. Huff. Yeah, I've got a bit of a sinus thing going on at the moment. It's not ideal. Comes from my mother, unfortunately. Bad sinuses run in my mother's side, and yeah, I managed to pick that up. Not poorly, just get banged up quite a lot. Do you have pineapple on a pizza, Lynn? Yes, I do, very much so. Simon, Adidas or Nike? I'm an Adidas boy, sorry. Not a Nike boy, Adidas. All day long. Darren, great drive last weekend. Got to get you back in the BTC. I'd love to come back, for sure. So, yeah, let's get me back. No problem. Chris, top answer, was great to see you back. Thank you very much. Never easy answering some of these questions. But I thought you lot said you had some really weird questions. And now I probably shouldn't have said that, but you know, you're all scaring me a bit with your fact that you were all going to ask me some pretty twisty questions, but these are all pretty straightforward. We shook hands Sunday. Did you feel the magic too? Obviously, Scott. All day long, mate. I was remembering that handshake. Jack, bring to see you back in the BTCC, Rob. Love to see you next year. Thank you, Jack. Favourite touring car? Simon Joy, my favourite touring car. I was lucky enough to race at Silverstone Classic, 3 years ago, I guess. The guy I do all my historic racing with bought the 2000 Mondeo from ProDrive, and that was the car that I absolutely idolised, and yeah, lucky enough got to drive it once and winning it at the Silverstone Classic, so happy days. How was it being in the same team as Plato in 04? Tough. Very, very tough. But I learnt a lot. I learnt an awful lot. He was a tough teammate, but he was probably one of the reasons why I managed to win a world championship and be able to battle the likes of Ivan, Alain Menu, Nicola Dorini, because I learnt so much from Jason. Who would you say was the biggest influence in regards to motorsport? Chris, my dad. Although we as a family knew nothing about motorsport whatsoever, because I have no connections to motorsport, and that's one of the probably quite uncommon things in my family, is that we, no uncles, aunties, granddads, or whatever, no one was in motorsport at all. My dad was just a fan, and yeah, so without him I wouldn't be where I am. And we sat down and looked at it all. We never, started motorsport to become a professional driver. It wasn't until I won the SAC Cooper Championship in 2003 that I think I probably believed that I could be a professional racing driver. So, yeah, no, Huff Daddy, what a ledge. Can we stick a Jeff Army sticker on a WCCC car? Send me some, Graham. Let's see what we can do. Trevor, favourite BTCC track? Alton Park. Dave, if you come back next year, can I carry on stalking you? Yeah, of course you can, Dave. No problem, mate. You're not that much of a stalker, to be fair. Andy, would you rather watch your parents have sex every day for the rest of your life, or join in once and make it stop? Andy, that's horrific. My parents don't have sex. They did like twice, so that's yeah, once for me, once for my sister. But I'm not even sure that actually happened. Who would want to fight out Mike Jordan and Barry Lee? Barry Lee all day long. What do you think will happen with the WTCC next year, Dave? I've got no idea, I'm afraid, at the moment, mate. Literally, no one's got a clue. No, there's no regulations out, and that makes life tough because no one knows what's going on. So that's why everyone's looking outside the box. Do you think Tom will find it hard to follow your brands after your performance at Silverstone? No, Eric. I think Tom is the kind of driver who will thrive off my performance at Silverstone. He was so excited about it. He now knows, that it's in the car. I changed the car quite a lot in a direction that they've not been in before. And obviously we did well throughout the day. And in the last race of the day, Senna Proctor, we put it on his car and he got the fastest lap of the race. So I'm actually really confident that Brands Hatch, they can be at the front. Paul, Plato, Matt Neal, Stuart Lyons, Snogmare, Void. Is that your order, Paul? Is that what you're telling me? You'd Snog Plato, you'd marry Matt Neal, and you'd avoid Stuart Lyons. Dave, love you. Lee, who is that one BTC driver you can't stand? Lee, I'm going to be honest with you, mate. You could throw some names at me now of the people that are on the grid at Silverstone, and I wouldn't know some of them. So, yeah, literally every year on the BTC, I look at some of the names and I have no idea who they are. But who is one BTC driver you can't stand? When I raced in BTC in '04, Rob Collard was the bloke who I had issues with, because he was a very angry gnome. There you go. There's your gnome. Angry gnome was Mr. Collard. But since I left BTC, we get on really well. And it's nice to see him. And yeah, to be fair, I don't dislike anyone. I seem to get on quite well with everyone. Would you do a Clio race, Dave? No. Done my Clio in the good old days. I loved it, but I wouldn't get in a Clio now. Michelle, do you still go to Red Lodge? No. Well, I live very close to Red Lodge, so if I take my cart, then I go to Red Lodge, Michelle. But I haven't been for a while. It's okay. Yeah.